And I would recommend, quite honestly, as I do, I try to go in 2-3 times a week, get that half hour, and every now and then I'll have an hour session.
Right.
You know, I like to play tennis, I like to play sports, I get strains and injuries, so maybe I'll step it up to 45 minutes or an hour.
Right.
But if they got in here and had a couple of half-hour sessions, you know, as a minimum, that's going to be a real good support for the body, along with the other things that you offer here.
Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of Reinventing Cool. I'm your host, Maria Isabella, the founder of LondonCryo. On this podcast, I aim to talk to my guests throughout the process of their cryotherapy session, so you can get a behind-the-scenes look into the whole process while getting to know the guests better. Today's guest is Jeff Hope, the co-founder of the Wellness Tree Group, which was established 14 years ago. The Wellness Tree revolve around the vital elements of light, air, water and earth, and it combines to empower you to reach and maintain optimal health. Jeff has spent 8 years living in the USA, working with some of the world's leading doctors and experts in the field of hyperbaric oxygen therapy. Hi, I'm Maria Isabella. Welcome to our latest episode of Reinventing Cool. On today's episode, we have Jeff Hope from the Wellness Tree Group. Welcome, Jeff.
Good to be here. Good to be back.
Very good. As you know, at LondonCryo, we believe in a 360-degree holistic approach to wellness, which is why we're really excited to have the Hyperbaric Oxygen Chamber in our store at the moment. So it would be great if you could just speak to our audience about what the benefits are and why it's so important to do that as part of what we do at LondonCryo.
Absolutely. Be happy to share that. And I think what I love about what you're doing at LondonCryo is this combined approach. Really what you've done here is you've taken some really powerful therapies and then you've combined them. I like to feel that's kind of, if you like, replicating the best in nature through technology, and that's what LondonCryo does. You know, when you've got the cryotherapy in there, which really is a standalone therapy, is extremely powerful, and a lot of people have that and they feel good for it. Why do they feel good for it? Because it's got all that energy of that extra blood flow with that oxygen all going to those vital organs of the body, you know, which in itself is powerful. But when you start adding other powerful therapies to that, you add hyperbaric oxygen, you add far infrared sauna, you add photobiomodulation, light therapy to that. That's not a 1 + 1 + 1 is 3. That becomes exponential at the cellular level. And that's what really excites me. Working with you guys here, because you're open-minded and you're understanding that if you can support the body at the cellular level with these combined therapies, you're going to get a great response, and that's what you're getting here.
That's right. We've only had it for a very short time and it's already proven to be so popular, and we're hoping to roll it out now to our next few locations. So,
all right, good stuff. And you know, looking at hyperbaric, it's interesting. A lot of people will look at that, and some people think, what is a hyperbaric chamber? It's just this great big metal thing. Technology has moved forward. You here at this time have a hyperbaric chamber that goes to a great depth, about 1.4 ATA, it's about 4 meters under sea level. But of course you're not under sea level, it just gently pressurizes, your ears equalize. But the big effect is you're getting a tremendous amount of oxygen when you go in a hyperbaric chamber that dissolves into the liquid of the body. This is the big thing about hyperbaric. The cerebral spinal fluid of your brain, your spinal cord, 72% liquid plasma moving around your body with the blood, and also the lymph, all becomes super saturated in oxygen.
It does.
And the difference is, a lot of people say, well, couldn't I go to an oxygen bar and just go and breathe some extra oxygen? It's not about topping up the hemoglobin, your red blood cells, it's into the liquid plasma. And the only way you can get extra oxygen into that is to pressurize the body gently. And I think really at LondonCryo, one of the best things that folks could do is go into the hyperbaric chamber first, because the effects of that 400 or 500% more oxygen in the liquid plasma, helping for accelerated recovery and repair, which is really what it does. Throughout the other therapies they're doing while they're with you, that oxygen takes a while to dissipate out of the body. So they've got extra oxygen. Then they might be having the light therapy. Now you're getting a real focused red and infrared light right in at the cellular level. That's very good for enhancing performance. So there you are with accelerated recovery and repair.
Yes.
Now we've got enhanced performance with light.
That's right.
You know, and then you get into, say, the cryotherapy. What a finish to get that ton of oxygen into those vital organs. And you're going to leave refreshed. Whether you came in just for general health and well-being, maybe it was something chronic you were working on. All these therapies combined, including the sauna as well. Let's not forget about that.
No, that's right. That's a really important modality we have here.
Massive. And you know why that's so big? You know, another great thing about the sauna is you've got about 4 or 5 things happening there. Not only are you burning about 800 calories or so for a half-hour session inside there, certainly up to that, you're getting a real gentle cardiovascular conditioning.
That's right.
If you don't use it, you know, you lose it.
You lose it, that's right.
Exactly. And a lot of people don't get that exercise. Well, there they are getting that cardiovascular workout. They're getting an immune system boost as well, which is great. It's good for the skin. And most importantly, in a fine infrared sauna, you're not boiling the body, Maria. That's important.
That's right.
You're not needing to do that with far infrared. It just heats from the core inside out and helps you to sweat out thousands of chemicals that the body is not able to metabolize. And it's a great way to sweat out, and you're going to feel good. So everybody that walks in here but then walks back out after those therapies is going to be feeling great.
They do, and that's one thing we're really proud of here at LondonCryo. Everybody does leave here feeling better than before they came in.
Absolutely.
So, and I think adding this treatment on is only just going to, you know, be even more powerful for them.
Yeah, it's something that people really should incorporate more into their lives these days. You know, it's a crazy thing. You know, there's some studies out that show you know, that 90% of the money we spend out on health is on about the last 5% of our lives. It's crazy. Why not spread that out over a period and work preventatively?
That's right, but they need to be educated about these things, though. That's where the problem lies, right? So
100%.
It's only when it's too late that they turn to these kind of treatments. But, you know, if everyone's being educated about beforehand, it can be preventative and just go a long way.
100%. There's many people that say, oh, I was fine till I was 45, and then this happened. I say, no. That's when the bucket overflowed.
That's right.
Your lifestyle or whatever that thing that was happening in your body, it just got to a point where it couldn't anymore and it overflowed. What we're saying is, don't wait for that day.
That's
Do
right.
something preventatively.
Exactly.
You know, live a longer, better quality of life, and you have an opportunity to do that because you're supporting, as I say, from a holistic level, the whole body's supported.
That's
from the
right.
brain right the way from your nose to the tip of your toes.
Exactly.
It's a great therapy.
How long has Hyperbaric been around for? Is this something new? Or
Well,
it's
it's
been around for a
interesting.
while?
Yeah, very good question. Well, the Henshaw has been around, and his name was Henshaw.
Yes.
He made the first hyperbaric chamber in 1662.
Oh, wow, okay, quite a
So
long time.
don't forget that light and oxygen used to be mainstream medicine.
Yes.
And of course, you know, drugs and surgeries come along, and that definitely has its place. But really now there's a massive resurgence in people understanding the benefit of light therapy and oxygen therapy, cryotherapy, because it supports the body's innate ability to heal. We're not having to be invasive to the body, we're just supporting the body's innate ability to heal.
Exactly.
And that's what you do when you come in here with all these therapies. And
That's
there's some
right.
Amazing staff that you have here looking after
Thank
people.
you.
Well, they're always
They
looked
are.
after me. I'm going to have a therapy
thank you.
straight after this.
You are. That's
Always
right.
do.
Very good. And can we just talk about some recent studies that are coming out with Hyperbaric, in particular to recovering from long COVID? Do you have something to say on that you could share with
Yeah, and I
us?
think it's fair to say there's a tremendous amount coming out of Israel right now. You know, they have the kind of 4 different health systems, and so they're really pushing forward with it. So they are in the United States and also in China.
Yeah.
There are white papers on COVID, and certainly they're available
Yes,
for you
they are.
guys to be able to share with clients. You know, COVID attacks at the respiratory level, and
Yes.
here we are getting all this oxygen dissipating straight into the body.
Yep.
You know, that's a vital importance. So yeah, for COVID and long COVID, it's been in the newspapers of late as
It
well,
has, yes.
and in Israel, the degenerative and the Alzheimer's side of things. You know, what we're not doing is saying you have to have a specific therapy for this. We're just supporting the whole body in our crazy 21st century lifestyle, you know, where there's so much stress and other things that we deal with. You've got to give the body a break. So things like long COVID, that there are a whole list of things that folks can come to you, they can ask for the studies and the therapy, and there are just hundreds of them for each individual modality that you offer here. So certainly COVID's big, degenerative, there's a lot in Alzheimer's, even lengthening of telomeres.
That's
I mean, you know, I'm not saying it's the elixir of life, but certainly with oxygen, delivering that safely into the body, you know, it can be a 30-minute session or more, you know, you're coming away from that and your body's got a lot more energy to deal with the world that we're living in. You know, no matter what age you are, there's a benefit. Don't forget, we have sports players, we have some of the big premiership teams are using hyperbaric oxygen, you know, to accelerate that recovery and repair for top players, including rugby players. So really, across the board, if it's good enough for them, surely it's good enough for your customers as well, no matter what their situation is. Get that oxygen going, get that cryotherapy, get that heat therapy going, and get a big dose of light in there to support the body's healing.
That sounds wonderful. If you could just give us two examples. So say someone who's generally in great health but wanting to try hyperbaric. So what would you recommend as their initial dose of coming in? Could they do a half an hour session or could they do an hour session? And then how regularly should they do that?
If they're just coming in, you've got somebody coming in and saying, look, I'm reasonable health. Yeah, a good half hour, good 30 minutes solid of that extra few 100% more oxygen in the liquid and plasma is going to be good for sure.
Fantastic.
And they don't know what's going on in their body. And you know, young people that like to be active and stay active, absolutely to do that. And I would recommend, quite honestly, as I do, I try to go in 2-3 times a week, get that half hour, and every now and then I'll have an hour session.
Right.
You know, I like to play tennis, I like to play sports, I get strains and injuries, so maybe I'll step it up to 45 minutes or an hour.
Right.
But if they got in here and had a couple of half-hour sessions, you know, as a minimum, that's going to be a real good support for the body, along with the other things that you offer here.
Fabulous. And if it's someone who does a lot of sports activities, would you recommend the same thing, or would you recommend they do it for longer, over a longer period of time, or, you know, more regularly during the week, for example?
I would say, you know, for the sports and the athletes, you know, it's all about, you know, that they train, and then after that training they need to repair. So remember, they're going to get accelerated recovery and repair, you know, as those muscles get worked. So again, after any kind of workout, if they've got a hard routine regime, you know, 3 times a week would be a good thing for sports guys to do. And you know, you go on to, if I can say, henshawsport.co.uk, go to that website, that's where you're going to find doctors like Dr. Scher, people who are really recognised, and of course some top athletes are on there, the likes of Johnny May and so forth, and of course the Welsh captain who keeps going, Alan Jones. You know, those guys are getting in the chamber when they get big injuries, and they'll go in every day and they're back on the field. Instead of 6 months later, they're on 6-7 days later. So there's some great things that are happening there. But yeah, for sure, for folks like myself, I've just hit the big 60, and yet here I am. Thank you very much. I was just yesterday. I'm over most of it. But you know, at the end of the day, I get in that chamber as regularly as I can because I want to keep that level. So the older you're getting, the more you can stay on top of your game, for sure.
Would you recommend anyone doing it before exercise? Because we do have a few clients now that are coming in, you know, to test it, to see how they feel if they do hyperbaric first and then go have a training session. Some of them are reporting to us or giving us feedback that they have an awesome training session because they've come and done hyperbaric before.
There are no question that there are people who will get that extra energy boost and go out there and feel really good on it. But remember, if you've got something in your body that needs to be healed, what happens when you go in a hyperbaric chamber and get that amount of energy in the body? Remember, energy in the body is a combination of the carbon in the food you eat with the oxygen. They combust and it gets that ATP, adenosine triphosphate, is released by the mitochondria in the cells. Now that's a process that for some people can leave them, puts them into the parasympathetic, gets them very relaxed, because when you're in the parasympathetic, as in you're relaxed, that's when the healing takes place. So if somebody is needing to heal and goes in the hyperbaric chamber, quite honestly, that would be post.
Right.
That
okay,
would
that
be
makes
post.
sense. Of
But if
course.
somebody's feeling good and wants that extra energy and doesn't, get away from the drugs, get away from, the surgery, if you like, and just do something that innately is going to support the body and give it as much energy as possible, absolutely hyperbaric beforehand. So it's different strokes for different folks. If you're repairing, do it after the game.
Yeah.
But if you just want a boost of energy and you're feeling good, absolutely go in there beforehand.
Okay, Jeff, now we're going to pivot into cryotherapy. A lot of this podcast is about, coming out of your comfort zone. A lot of people are still too scared to try cryo. You recently tried it with us.
I did.
So we're going to talk more about that in a moment.
Okay.
And then I'd also like us to go through the cryotherapy session as well, because we do that with all our guests, just to show that it's more mind over matter. We can talk about how you feel beforehand, how you feel afterwards. But first of all, so how would you recommend doing, if someone's coming in to do a cryotherapy session and hyperbaric, in what order would you recommend and why?
Good question. I would certainly recommend the hyperbaric first.
Yes.
And coming back to something I mentioned earlier on, is that to go into the hyperbaric chamber and get all that extra oxygen, so you've got 400-500% more oxygen in your liquid and plasma, that doesn't dissipate straight away. That stays in the system for a while. So what better than to then combine some other great therapies in there right at the cellular level for whatever the client's needs are. Why not do that while you have that extra oxygen in the body? So that's a simple answer for me. Get in the hyperbaric first and then combine those therapies. And that brings us back to that exponential effect at the cellular level, because we've got all those therapies, positive things happening.
So before you started working with us at LondonCryo, can you just share what you knew about cryotherapy at the time?
That's a good question, because I did have a view on cryo, that people have talked about these freezing temperatures, and I must admit I was a bit reticent. I was a bit unsure.
Your reaction when we asked you.
I was unsure about going in. I wouldn't say I was cajoled in, but at the same time I was up here with one of my colleagues, Luke at the time. So for whatever reason, I felt comfortable here. I felt comfortable with you guys, so I thought I'd give it a try. I was unsure and concerned when I got in how I was going to feel. And during the therapy, first of all, so of course I had the mittens on and I was dressed to get in there, but the 3 minutes went by quickly. And although when I got out, I was ready to get out. But when I came out, it was an immediate kind of wow for me. I had the tingling feel to the body. I felt really good. And all I can say is I just wanted to get in again. So I'm
amazing. That's really good.
That's why I'm happy to do this talk today, because I get another chance.
That's right. We're going to go in there next, right?
It's a great feeling, and I have to say that I then had to drive home from there. I was pretty tired beforehand, and I had a good journey home, and I was talking to people pretty much all the way.
That's
so I've got to say,
it does give you the boost of energy, right? Especially when it's your first time.
There's more to it than meets the eye, and I'm so glad I've done it, and I'm wanting to do it more often.
Very good, thank you.
100%.
Some people have concerns about trying hyperbaric, and one of them is being claustrophobic. Like recently, I had one of my city managers who was really scared about doing it. So as you know, you put us both in there together, so she could be really calm in there. And she had an amazing experience, came out very relaxed, and that's obviously the parasympathetic nervous system calming down while we're in there. Do you want to speak to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think so. It's a good point, and there are obviously people who are claustrophobic. And one of the important things is, for example, the chamber you have here at the moment does have a seat in there. And so people are more relaxed. Sometimes when they lie down, they can feel a little more vulnerable, but they're sitting in a really nice, comfortable seat inside. There's a nice big marshmallow mattress inside, so it's a very comfortable experience. They're on the walkie-talkie, somebody's talking to them, they've got the windows. It's a bit like sitting in a first-class seat in an aeroplane, to be honest with you, in that particular situation. So what we tend to do is, with anybody like that, they just need to feel comfortable and in control. So we make sure they're in control, and that is by, for example, when they sit inside, we'd leave them in there to acclimatise themselves. They realise that they can control the pressure. They can press a button and come out really quickly. They're not going that deep, but they're going to get a profound amount of oxygen that's going to make them feel good.
Yep.
So it's not a rush, you know, we just go gently a stage at a time. And in most cases, once somebody has actually experienced it and realized how safe it is, how simple it is, but the effects are so good, you know, we're able to really help them because they're in that sitting position. They don't, you know, they're nearer to the sort of fetal position, if you like. They're totally comfortable.
Yep.
And overall, the way you treat your clients here, I think they're going to be just fine.
Yes, and there's another thing, like with cryotherapy, you know, people are scared to try it, but we're in the room with you the whole time.
Absolutely.
So we make sure that you're safe at, you know, and there's nothing to be concerned about. You know, we talk you through the experience like we do with hyperbaric as it builds up pressure. We're just on the other side of it, just talking to you so everybody's comfortable. So
I'd much prefer that than popping pills and having injections done and surgery. Yeah. I'd rather sit there comfortably and have that experience for the body. Absolutely.
I agree.
100%.
So Jeff, on that note, shall we go into the hyperbaric room and just show people how it's set up and how it actually works?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that.
Let's do that. So we're in the hyperbaric room. This is a beautiful chamber that we have here at LondonCryo. Jeff's going to talk to us about how this all operates.
Absolutely. So very, very simple. Basically, we have a triple urethane chamber here, okay? And the client has total control inside and we have total control on the outside. We've got a pressure gauge which tells us that we've reached pressure, the customer's really fine inside. If we want to let him out, we've got this great little control here that allows us to let the air out. At the moment, as you can see, pretty solid. It's at pressure. And somebody's sitting in there having a really comfortable experience, okay? And all we've got here is we've got our compressor, our pump, we've got a concentrator. We don't have any bottles of oxygen anywhere. No. We're taking the 21% ambient air and we're compressing that to over 90% oxygen that's delivered through into the chamber through a very, very simple little transparent mask or a cannula.
Yes.
And they're just breathing that extra oxygen in while they're having a rest inside there. And we've even got a dehumidifier just to make the temperature nice and comfortable inside. Yeah. We switched everything on. They have a therapy, half hour or an hour, and it's as simple as that. At the end, we open the zips, they get out and they feel good.
They feel amazing, I know. It. And I must admit, even when I'm doing my sessions in there, I'll either bring like my laptop in there, get some emails done, or bring a book in there to do some reading. So
absolutely.
Or guilty, yeah. I do bring the Normatec in there as well sometimes because I do my compression therapy at the same time. So
well, you know, you guys look after it very safely.
Yes.
You've gone through the risk assessment or the training. You have your competence of working with it, and really, it's a very, very safe therapy.
It is.
And more clients in this area are now able to experience it thanks to LondonCryo. It's great stuff.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank
Pleasure.
you. So why hyperbaric oxygen therapy? Oxygen fuels the body to promote faster and more effective healing. This is how it works. Mild hyperbaric oxygen therapy saturates body fluids, tissues and cells with oxygen under pressure. This promotes a healthy brain. Hyperbaric increases the number of stem cells that migrate to sites of the brain injury and promotes the growth of new blood vessels in the brain. It also helps with injury recovery and endurance. Hyperbaric means recovery times are reduced for athletes, performance is improved and endurance is enhanced. It helps with healthy aging. It promotes fast repair of damaged skin cells, diminishing the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. Hyperbaric is also used post-surgery for recovery. The hyperbaric therapy can help reduce swelling, fight infection, and build new blood vessels, ultimately producing healthy tissue. It helps relieve pain and inflammation. HBOC can provide quick, strong, and long-lasting pain relief while dramatically reducing inflammation. So on that note, Jeff, let's get you ready for cryo.
I'm ready.
So Jeff, we're going to do your cryotherapy session now. How are you feeling?
First time, as you know, I was pretty nervous. This time I can't wait to get in because I love the feeling after 3 minutes. So yeah, I'm ready to go.
Very good. So I'm just going to pre-cool the machine now, as we usually do, and then I'll get you to step inside.
All right, sounds good.
So we're ready to go. I'm just going to open the door for you.
Sounds good. Thanks
a lot. If you just take a step inside, start to take your gown off. I'll lift you a bit higher there so we can see you. Keep your hands up the top there. I'm just going to press start.
Okay.
I'm going to get you to take a quarter of a turn every 15 to 20 seconds.
Okay, sounds good.
So Jeff, if you just take a quarter of a turn for me there. So you know we're going to go down to minus 130 degrees.
Yeah.
The science and research shows you need to hit minus 110 or colder for the body to go into, to get the fight or flight shot, to get the benefits of cryotherapy.
Yeah, I've got you.
Very good. You look like you're doing that nice and easy.
Yeah, nice and easy.
You feel comfortable?
Yeah, I mean obviously it's that cold, but it's a
Yes.
refreshing kind of feel. It's amazing. It's not like anything you experience.
No, I know.
It's just like a quick trip to the North Pole,
Yeah.
to be honest with you.
It's a good way to put it. Are you feeling okay?
Yeah, feeling okay.
Very good.
I'm feeling the chill.
Yes?
But there's also a part of me, as with all of these things, like I say, I'd rather not have surgery, I'd rather not have an injection.
That's right.
I'd rather not take pills, I'd rather just have 3 minutes
Yep.
of something that really is having a big effect on moving all that extra oxygen, blood to my heart and vital organs, and that's good.
That's very good. Take a quarter of a turn. And what cryotherapy does, it helps to awaken the internal doctor in us, and that's
Yeah.
why it helps with the healing, and it does complement all the other treatments, especially the hyperbaric.
Yeah.
So it's very good for you.
100%.
3, 2, 1. There you go. I'll pass you your robe there, Jeff.
Thanks a lot.
I'll wait till that's on,
All
and
right.
then I'll open the door. Okay. So Jeff, how do you feel now that you've just come out of the cryotherapy session?
Absolutely amazing. Just like I did last time, I can just feel the blood and a wonderful prickly feeling of the blood coming back to the extremities of the body. It's just an amazing feeling when you come out. You just feel rejuvenated.
You do, that's
100%.
right,
So
that's
no, I'm
right.
feeling good right now.
Amazing. And what would you say to anybody that's still sitting on the fence about trying cryotherapy?
What are you waiting for? Just give it a try. Life's for the living, and this is an experience. I was unsure to start off with. Now I love it.
Amazing. Thank you for being on the show with us today.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Invite me back again.
With pleasure.
Okay.